Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. My name is Tony. This is the 15-minute gamer, and today we're going to answer the question, is Hunt Showdown worth your money and to play in 2022? This time we don't just have my opinion. I've asked someone who has 200 hours and someone who has 2,000 hours for their opinions too, so catch them at the end of the video. I'm new to this game, so I thought it'd be nice to have, views from other people with more experience. But before that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, smash that like button, and comment below to let me know what you think of this game. Have you checked it out? Have you been putting it off? Were you thinking it was like Tarkov as well? Let me know. First up, what is Hunt Showdown? Hunt Showdown is a thrilling, high-stakes PvPvE first-person shooter. Take down nightmarish monsters as you compete for bounties that will bring you glory, gear, and gold in this unforgiving and unforgettable online multiplayer experience. On Steam, it currently sits at an 86% positive review with an average player count of 13,000, which is pretty good to be fair. So how much does it cost and where can you get it from? Main place is gonna be Steam. RRP is $35.99. I got it for like $17.99. The deluxe edition comes with some DLC and it's £58 on top of that. The gold edition is £84. The collector's edition, sit down for this, is £195, and that comes with all the DLC. This game offers a boatload of DLC and cosmetic items that you can buy in game with real money, which I must say I wasn't really expecting from a paid game. It's a very almost free to play store page there. However, none of it is pay to win and it doesn't affect the game, which is always good to see. So now that you know what you're getting for your money, what's the game like to play? I must admit, I always thought it was just an Escape from Tarkov clone. I was like, look, I'll play Escape from Tarkov. I'm a bit sick of it. I don't want to play something else. I just thought you went, right, you're going to loot, extract, or die and lose everything. However, once I got playing, I realized that the only real connection with Tarkov was extracting. Yeah, you lose your hunter if you die, but there's no real loot. Dying is bad, but it never feels like you've wasted your time and you're never too frustrated with dying. Also, playing it, I never felt I died in an unfair way. Usually it was down to my lack of skill, like I wasn't like, oh, is that person cheating? Oh, how am I supposed to win against someone who has that gun, that armor, etc. I always felt it was a lot fairer. So let's break it down a little bit here. The whole aim of the game is to find monsters. You need to kill them and extract with their bounty tokens. Each round will usually have 1 or 2 monsters to find, and there's a few different monsters you'll come across. You look for clues are like glowy things when you go into a special vision mode. Get 3 clues and you'll find the monster location, kill, and extract it. However, necessarily don't have to find 3 clues. You could start right on top of the monster and get straight in there. You might collect 2 and one of the other teams finds the monster well before you. But 3 is kind of where you're at. It's not that easy though. Obviously, there's other teams doing the exact same thing. If you have 2 monsters on a map, it's slightly improved of avoiding PvP. If there's 1 on the map, you might as well just get in there. You're going to get the PvP. Once you start banishing the monster, which is basically when you've killed it, everyone else on the map can see exactly where you are and will generally start heading towards you. This is kind of the most tense time. When that monster's banished, it's just waiting for that PvP to happen. 1 team might show up, 2 teams might show up, 3 might show up. One of our games, all 3 showed up. It was chaos. Sometimes nobody shows up. Also, you've got the other side where if you haven't killed the monster, you'll be like, what's my tactic here? Am I going to go and get it or just extract? It's up to you. However, you don't have to play like this. You can just score some XP and money, get some loot and extract without getting the bounty token. You can go around just hunting other players, like nothing to stop you. You can hide in a bush and then just do a rat run at the end. That's what a lot of solo players do. You don't even have to get the clues. Literally just hide in the bush, kill some things and leave. It's catered for many play styles and I do like that. There is also PvE against zombies and zombie specials. So zombie specials might be poison, armor, that sort of thing. There are also a lot of noise makers dotted around. They're called noise makers, but they're things like birds, horses, and dogs, where if you'll go near them, they'll make some sort of noise, and that will alert other teams to your presence. So, you know, there might just be birds go up in the air, or dying horses, so you have to run over and hit them or kill them or avoid them. The PvE in this game isn't very challenging, to be fair, because they don't have guns and stuff, so it's very up close and personal combat, and you can't avoid them. So say compared to Tarkov, where you can get shot by a scav, it's not like that. Yes, there are zombies. Yes, some of them will get on top of you if there's a lot of them. The dogs can be a bit of a pain, especially the dogs with the helmets on. You try and shoot them and it just bounces off. If you're not ready or you're running low on ammo, they can come a little bit challenging, and obviously the noise makers you've really got to watch out for. Players can extract at designated boats and carriages at any point in the match. Maximum match time is 1 hour. Talking about extracting, one thing I did really like is when someone does extract with a bounty or something, it tells you, so you can kind of work out on the map if you're alone or not, and I really like that feature. While it has some looting, extra guns are rare unless if you kill another player. You might find some melee weapons dotted around. Once you kill a player, you can steal some of their stuff, but you won't be able to sell their gun afterwards. You can just take it. There's also not much to find in the game world apart from traits, ammo, and health, so very different to Tarkov on that one. Loadouts are purchased with in-game money before matchmaking. You can bring 2 guns, some med kits, and some other gadgets. Hunter-wise, if your hunter survives, you will level up and you can add traits. Traits are generally not massively game breaking. Some are better than others. There is a couple of metas here as well. There's like one that was a little bit overpowered that I came across in one of my first games that allowed a pistol, like dual pistols, to be shot like a machine gun, and I just got wiped out. Apart from that, the rest are kind of just useful little things like faster aim, a little bit more stamina, that sort of thing. However, if your hunter dies, you lose that hunter, so there's always a risk versus reward. Once your hunter is at level 25, you can retire them and you'll get loads of XP back. XP unlocks weapons and bits to go on your weapon. Weapons are also tied into XP, so the more you use a certain gun, the more you will unlock for it. Gun sets come pre-made, so you can't like pick and mix parts from it. You kind of just have that gun and it'll be like, right, this is a Deadeye gun, this is a sniper version, this is a small version. You can buy guns in the store too. You can have up to 5 hunters in your roster. After each round you get a free one, so don't worry if you die, you can get a free one. If you buy them, they'll have better weapons and more traits and stuff like that. So there's like tiers on there. Last thing to mention on loadouts is you can be out and back in the game in no time. You can pre-save loadouts, and I love it for that. Unlike Tarkov, where sometimes you can be waiting ages for everyone to get sorted, this is like medpack, vitality, knife, gun, done. One thing just to point out as well, if you die in game, you still get half of the XP you gained as well, which is a really nice feature. Matchmaking is based on MMR, and one thing I did like is if you play with someone really good, like we were playing with Bobby, we didn't go up to his level. He kind of came down a little bit. We kind of went up a little bit. So it means that if you're playing with someone better, you're not just running around scared, unable to do anything like a few multiplayer games. So it does balance the team out in that way. Moving on to map design, I really like the map design. I think the atmosphere is spot on, it's scary, and there's not like massive distances to cover between point of interest. You really get a feel that the place is full of zombies and monsters. There are 2 maps in the game, they are very similar. Points of interest are dotted around the maps. As you get your clue, it will narrow the map down to where you're going, and then you go to that next area. This is where you'll find your clues inside the PUIs. I do wish, and one small criticism is maybe a little bit more signposting would be nice. Sometimes I was a little bit like, well, I had to sit in that special vision mode. It would be nice if it just kind of said sawmill that way and that way and that way, you know, on the side of roads would have been good. And that just leads to finding somewhere to be a little bit of a pain sometimes and just waste time. I would say one thing about the map design that is bad is because of the loot it offers, which isn't much. There isn't much reason to go into a POI to explore if you're just passing or have your clue. Like, you might check the odd room, you might walk a little bit, you might kill the odd zombie, but usually you're just running through them and running past them, which is a bit of a shame. I would like to see reasons to go into these areas. Graphics and sound. Overall, I would say graphically it's decent, but the game is starting to look a little old. It feels a little bit washed out in parts, and some of the environments are not the best. I also found enemy spotting to be quite difficult because there's a lot of white noise going on in the environment. Bushes, trees, things lying around on the ground. However, as I said, they're not terrible. There is some nice in there, and the atmosphere is spot on. The enemies and guns look really cool with some unique designs going on, and the points of interest have some really nice aesthetic choices going on while in there, like lifts and caves and doors to go through, and it all looks really cool at times. There is also a spectator cam. So when you die, you can watch your teammate, which I love. I think that's such a good feature, because that means when you die, you don't feel as bad. You just sit there going, I've got to crack on something else now. You can watch what they're doing. Sound is just like one of the best things about this game. It is fantastic in every way. It's way better in Tarkov. Like when a shot is fired, you really know where it's coming from. You can hear footsteps easily, and you tend to know where and when the enemy's gonna attack you, especially if they're noisemakers as well. Like if an enemy's hiding behind a wall, you can almost hear them breathing, and that's so cool. Explosions ring out across the map. You can use them noise detectors, as I said, like birds, to pinpoint where an enemy is about to attack you from. So for me, the sound was fantastic, and again, it lends itself to the atmosphere. Just before we go on to the final impressions and what other people think, let's cover the gunplay since it's an FPS. It's really good. It really packs a punch. It's one thing I often discuss with first-person shooters lacking sometimes. It's just that the guns don't feel punchy enough. I would like a little bit of weapon customization here, and I do wish you could find more weapons in the game world, so there was a bit more danger to extracting. So you might find a gun and be like, oh my god, I really want this. That would be really cool if you could extract with that. Most weapons can have different ammo too, so some might have like flaming bullets or penetration, that sort of thing. There's the usual mix of pistols, shotgun, rifles, and snipers. There's also a crossbow in there as well. You can also have a range of scopes and silence. There's gadgets, so like grenades and stuff, and vitality shots and stuff are all based in the game as well. The game does a good job of limited ammo, which I really like. You never quite run out, but you never feel quite like you're 100% safe. And there was a few times I was like, if we get into a fight here, I'm not going to have enough ammo. So I did like that. So now that you know everything, is the game worth it? In a simple word from me, yes. I think it's really good. It's a worthwhile experience. It has a nice risk versus reward balance, and I never felt that not having the best kit was too much of a disadvantage. Whereas say in Tarkov, a few weeks into the wipe, you might as well just not bother playing because you're going to be outgunned all the time. And those with more money can just do way more stuff inside the game. I think the devs could tone down massively on the DLC and money making side of things and make these a little bit more unlockable or findable in the game world. I found it a little bit in your face, like when you start the game up, it's like, store, 25% off, do this, do this. It's like a free mobile game at times. I was a little bit put off. Also, the tutorial is terrible, and it does a bad job of explaining some of the core mechanics. Luckily, I had Bobby to show me around. Without him, I wouldn't have understood some stuff, and I think that tutorial might put some people off. It's also not scripted, so you can finish it and have to run absolutely miles to the other end of the map just to finish it. It needs to be scripted, it needs to be done, it needs to be sorted and way better. However, I think this is a good time, now that you've heard my opinion, to hear what some other people say about the game. So first up is Bobby, who has over 200 hours in the game. I like a PvP game, especially a polished one. It's a game that is just the right of risk to reward when it comes to the loss of a hunter. It's not too much time invested that I want to stop playing when I die, but just enough that I am annoyed when I lose a hunter. The sound on the game is one of the first things that drew me in. The fact all actions make a noise and that 3D sound makes it really easy to determine where a noise comes from. I feel you're never safe in the game, as one swift headshot can take you down and ruin your run. It's an easy game to pick up, but a hard game to master. It's a very headshot dependent game, and with the feel of the guns, I feel a lot of firefights come down to skill and positioning. The ability to build hunters using traits and loadouts allows for different experience. The long range weapons allow for a slow, precise gunfight where accuracy is key. or you can take the shotgun to try and push the enemy and close the space between you. I feel the guns are all balanced and viable in the game, and they're all dependent on the personal preference and playstyle, which is nice to see in a PvP game with a lot of choice when it comes to weaponry. There's no true playstyle to the game. You build around the way you want to play it, and I think that sums it up great just at the end there. And there isn't a meta. There's no real meta here. You're not going to come across the same gun, same loadout every time like you do in a lot of other shooters. You play how you want. I think it's a great point. Next up is someone with 2,000 hours of gameplay. It's a hardcore PvP game where the tiniest mistake will get you killed. The game is about building effective loadout where you can balance price for effectiveness. Although in the later ranks, some traits and guns are very overpowered going up against free hunters, and all it takes is playing smart and you can outplay other teams. Traits and weapons give the advantage but don't win the game. The sound design in the game is so good that it's like being able to see through walls. Since most surfaces are made of wood, you can use noise to kill people through walls without even seeing them. Just to point out there, that happened to me. The more you play the game, the better your game sense gets, and you can predict what other players are going to do, and you can easily destroy full teams as a solo player. The guns feel like they have a weight to them, so rather than in most shooter games, it's all about running and gunning, learning spray patterns, and then just finding the best gun. Hunt Showdown is about being precise and getting to the best position and knowing when to take on a fight. These are skills that just come from playing. Even though Crytek are slow to push out updates and changes when it comes to certain features, they do add a lot of things the community asked for eventually. MMR and save loadouts being too. So there you go. That's what some of 2,000 hours said. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think below. Will you be picking this game up? Are you interested in it now? Do you want to ask any questions? Fire them to me. I'll answer away. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.